Hey, hello. My name is Brandon Lee. I recently, gang stalker. I recently have been going through experience. Let me find another location. I kind of want to get this out. I want to say this. When you go through situations involving what you would describe as gang stalkers, I want to let you guys know it has absolutely nothing to do with any outside external thing as far as how you can defeat it. It's all an internal thing. It's something that you're not necessarily doing per se, especially when it comes to people like myself. I want to say this now. Situations that I've been going through recently in my life, it hasn't garnered much understanding up until recently. And I want to say that the whole gang stalking experience has something to do with something that you discovered, something that you've accepted, and something that you have made set in stone in your soul. I've been gang stalked for about 7 months now. The street theater, the whole like they rent like okay. We'll rewind it. I'm a former drug addict, and initially when I used to do drugs in my hotel room as I worked my job, I was a functioning addict, and what ended up happening was, I'll just say it, my air conditioner talked to me. I would come home and things were rearranged inside of my house, inside of my hotel. I remember I let a friend come over to take a shower. He was homeless, and my phone started talking. Yeah, like two older Caucasian males were talking on my phone. I figured it was the feds, and he was kind of shocked. I wasn't. Because nothing these days surprised me, especially with this whole pandemic thing. As fugazi and false as it is, nothing really surprises me these days. So he was surprised. I wasn't. Now my point is, it happened so suddenly that I didn't know. Like eventually, I was ran out from my job. I was ran out of my job by a local gang through subliminal and subversive tactics, as well as subliminal means and stuff like that. And it wasn't the drugs per se. It was just that's exactly how they wanted it. Now, did the drugs play a part? Of course, because they have been surveying me, and there's a level of paranoia when you do hard drugs, any hard drugs. I won't go into detail because that really doesn't matter. Whatever I did. When I left, I went to my older brother's house, and it continued. People were coming in the backyard at all hours of the night. People were peering through the windows. Just very strange stuff. Even two people were in the attic, and I told my older brother, I said, "Hey, listen, there's somebody in the attic. I can hear them talking to me." And this is before I heard of V2K weapons, energy projected weapons, and stuff like that. And what I realized is that he's been commissioned or propositioned by whoever it is who's gang stalking me, which I think personally is a hidden hand. So when it ended up happening was, and it gets very, very strange. If you guys can follow me, I'm gonna make a short video of this. Try to get it all out there as quickly as possible. So he basically ignored the logicality of what I was telling him. I would tell him what would happen within the job, and he completely shut me out. Like he didn't believe me. He made it seem like I was a habitual liar. Like, you gotta understand, like I was homeless. I had been homeless for a number of years, and I don't even keep up with my older brother to the point to where I could lie to him to that extent, for him to actually believe that I'm a habitual liar to some extent. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? You could tell it was all scripted, you know. And small lights would come on in the middle of the night. I would get what do they call that? Where you can't move in your sleep? You know, you just just weird stuff would happen in the house where I couldn't move in my sleep. Shadows would come around me. Yeah, I'll remember it's a term where like you just can't move in your sleep. I forget. You guys help me out. But my point is, I don't know why the word's escaping me. So what ended up happening was, like, it just got to a point to where, like, it just became unbearable. And at that point, I thought my phone had been hacked, obviously, and I tried to put it in I thought my identity was stolen. So what I did was I put an affidavit for the IRS to look into why I wasn't receiving a stimulus or even my federal income taxes. And they, you know, pretty much shunned me. They told me what was my mother's maiden name, and I told them, and she was like, "Oh, well, that's not it." And I'm just like, "Okay, you would know, I wouldn't, right? She's only my mother, right?" So one day, now I'm talking about some of the weirdest stuff. So one night, somebody jumps down from the attic in a skin tight outfit, leotard type deal, and walks to the restroom. I wake up, I'm like, "Hey," my older brother comes out shortly after. "Did you hear anybody jump down from the attic?" "Oh, no. But prior to that, we have ADT at my brother's house, and two doors open at the same time, one from the back garage and one from his master bedroom. This was originally my sister's house. Not only that, he always left the door unlocked, and I'm like, "Why are you leaving the door unlocked?" I had forced a habit, not realizing that, you know, he's leaving the door unlocked so people can come in, obviously. I'm kind of jumping all over, so if you guys can bear with me, because this is kind of, you know, I've never verbalized this to somebody before. So what ended up happening was I put two and two together, and I started researching gang stalking or gang practitioners, right? Because this is the original professional term for, you know, paying somebody to follow somebody else around for whatever reason. I remember one day my brother goes to, this is Thanksgiving 2020, he goes to his girlfriend's house, and I'm at the house by myself, and I want to get to the bottom of this. I'm like, what's going on? And I go to the attic, and I grab his gun, and I'm like, you know what? If anybody's up here, come down from here, and we can talk. And why are you following me? And what do you want from me? I want to know what the end game is. Like, what do you guys hope to gain from following me around? And what I realize is they don't hope to gain anything. They just want your attention. They want your time, your energy, your mental energy, everything. And at that point in my life, I was something that I couldn't really give them because I had to focus on myself in terms of sobriety. Now, the idea of it is, I went there and I wanted to go in the attic, but I didn't have any flashlight, and I'm just like, you know what, I should let off rounds in this attic because I feel like you guys are harassing me at this point. Now, like I said, I would go to sleep and strange little lights would peer through the attic, because there's certain chips in the wood and, in the living room, and like little strange lights would come and, incapacitate me to a certain extent that I couldn't move. So, mind you, the prior to this, I would be in the house by myself cooking food or whatever have you, and all I can hear was just a lot of shit talking, basically, and expect a lot of noise recently because expect a lot of noise right now because when you bring situations like this up, especially in public, then they tend to like drive by in loud cars and stuff like that. Whenever you're having like conspiratorial driven conversations. That's when I realized I'm being stalked because of forbidden knowledge, aka the hidden God, aka you would describe him as God, Jesus, whatever. The Illuminati describes him as Amen. And I started researching him, and I researched an organization of like-minded individuals that I wanted to link up with. They shall remain unnamed right now. But my point is, for that reason alone, I got gang stalked. And there was this one time in the room I was using drugs, and he told me not to bring any hard drugs in the house. But at that time, my mail was coming up. Opened. Stalkers were coming in the backyard. People were in the attic, and I was just kind of like driven to that. And, I'm not making any excuses, but that kind of made me relapse after about a month or so. And what ended up happening was it's in the middle of the night, around 3 o'clock, and the car pulls up in Bellflower, California, and like 3 people hop out in leotards and run to my neighbor's house. And I always suspected my neighbor was a gang stalker because, for one, they never acknowledged me, or not that I needed them to, but they never really acknowledged anything. Like they would always have weird little signs in the window. A lot of it was pagan, some of it was Christian, whatever, right? It's just very, very, very weird. And what ended up happening was they ran to the side of the house, and I'm like, those are probably like translucent type of outfits where like they can kind of turn invisible. And that was the reason why. And like, and my brother would deny it to a point to where like he was he actually made me think I was really paranoid. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, I'm not paranoid. Like, I'm not a paranoid person. I'm a very conscious person, actually. And there was this one time we were in the living room watching TV, and people were running in the backyard. And this is a small backyard. This is about maybe 10 feet, wood flooring, probably less than 10 feet in terms of vertical width, but it's wood flooring, very shoddy wood flooring, so you can hear anything walking. And he says, "Oh, those are cats." The second time he just completely ignored it. The third time he couldn't ignore it because there's so many heads in the backyard running around. He was like, "Huh? What happened?" I'm like, "Oh, now you know." Oh, yeah, really? Now you hear them all of a sudden, So, that's when I started to put 2 and 2 together. Oh, he's working with these people, whoever they are. And before I lose my train of thought, he goes in the backyard. There's no light. There's no motion flash sensory. So it's completely pitch blackness. So that's one. But let's rewind that. The night that I went to the attic and I heard 2 guns cocking. Remember, I told you I didn't go into the attic because I didn't have any flashlight. So I heard 2 guns cocking, and I'm like, oh, okay, so you guys are up here. And long story short, I almost committed suicide that night. I wrote a suicide note, and I almost committed suicide. I almost shot myself in the head. And because, at this point in my life, I'm going through all this stuff, and I'm just like, nobody really understands me. I'm talking to my sister. I call my sister. The phone hangs up by itself, recalls her, and then flashes group chat. And I'm just like, group chat? Who am I talking to on the group chat? So, and obviously these are gang stalkers that are, my sister's getting paid or whatever. I don't know. Pretty much, I know. Yeah, let's be honest. So I'm just like, okay, this is incredibly crazy. So my brother tells me I need to go to rehab. So I go to rehab, and mind you, prior to that, somebody had slipped something in my drink at the corner end of my beer. So I pound that down. I think it was either a remote tracking device or a amplifier, a neural receiver amplifier, so they can listen to my brainwave thoughts. And remember the reason why I'm being gang stalked, because of, trying to find out who the God is of this world. Some people say it's Jesus, some people say it's Muhammad, whatever. I beg to differ. So the idea of it is, let's throw him through a loophole and see if we can get him to go in circles for the rest of his life. And so I go to rehab, I get chipped, right? And I didn't tell my brother that I got chipped. I just tried to get it out of my throat by using a gag reflex. That didn't help. And I ended up going to rehab, and I leave after 8 days, and I go back to his house. That's when all the weird stuff would happen. Now, between that 7 days that I went to his house, I wasn't using. I was just trying to figure things out, because, obviously it's just kind of weird. And I'm having telepathic conversations with these people. At least I think it was. And I'm just like clowning them, making fun of them. I won't go through any jokes. I remember one night we're having my nephew came over, and what ended up happening was the dog started barking. I go in my brother's room, and I go to the room, and remember, my brother's girlfriend was always kind of clueless. She always denied it. She didn't want to know what was going on, or she knew what was going on, but didn't want to kind of spill the beans to me, at least. And so I went, and there was a literal shadow moving along the wall, and I'm like, wow. And the dog is going crazy. This is a Chihuahua, and I'm just like, okay. And then she comes in, so what's going on? Oh, just a shadow moving along the wall, and your dog is barking at it crazy. And she's like, oh, okay. I'm just like, that's it? Okay. Like, most people would like inquire a little bit more if it's something as so-called eerie as that, or weird as that. But whatever. Gang stalker have their codes of conduct that they have to abide by as far as dissemination of information. So sleep paralysis. I'm sorry. There you go. I told you the word would come to me. Sleep paralysis, which is when you can't move and you're sleeping, but in this term of sleep, what I went through as far as sleep paralysis, like weird shadows would come around me, and I'm like, oh, get the hell away from me, and they would move back, and I can move again. But let's fast forward. So I try to go back to the same rehab that my brother initially dropped me off. This was a Tarzana treatment center. So I went there the second time. I'm getting the strange feeling that these people could read my thoughts, and they did. They could. I would think negative thoughts about certain people. They would mad dog me. I actually went to this lady's room, office, cubicle, and it was just a blank page, and with several texts on it. So I'm just like, huh? And then she goes, huh? Sir, can you exit my office, please? I'm like, oh, okay. Because at this point, I'm just like really trying to figure this out. I'm talking to a counselor there about my upcoming tenure there, and the person in the next cubicle is stating everything that I'm saying verbatim. Maybe not in the same context, but everything verbatim. This is cubicles. Verbally, she's mouthing this. So things are getting very, very weird. And then she takes me to see if I can get some pills or whatever. I'm just like, ma'am, I don't need any pills. How come you guys didn't do this extensive security search / psychologically pill search? You know what I mean? Not pill search, but you know what I mean. Like they didn't administer any pills the first time, and come to find out, they tell me, oh well, we got a Long Beach driver on the way to come see you. And prior to that, remember I told you I was ran off of my job by gangbangers and stuff like that, because they, subliminally threatened me, set me up, and so on and so forth. All my friends, at this point, turned on me. All my friends turned on me, even the ones that and mind you, I would go home and talk to myself and have like rants about whatever I'm going through, because I didn't understand it at the time. And come to find out, I leave and I tell the lady, and I give her a piece of my mind. This is the Tarzana Treatment Center out there in California, San Fernando Valley. And I tell the lady, I go. Yeah, they just got off the bus. Get more gang stalkers. If you can see them right there, those are all gang stalkers. But my point is this: I go, you know what? This is a terrible situation you guys got me going on here. This is not a drug rehabilitation program. This is a mind altering and research facility. And like the guy looks at me, he's like, oh, like he's shocked, like I figured it out, like whoa. Then he whispers to her, oh, he scratched the surface. And I'm like, just go get my stuff and let me get the hell out of here. They thought I was getting irate. They threatened to call the police on me. I left. I got gang stalked from Tarzana Treatment Center all the way, like damn near the Van Nuys. And I got on the bus because, I was just so distraught about everything. Let's fast forward it again. I hit the streets for another 8 days, and I get into Cannon Homes. As soon as I get there, the cook tells me, oh, it's good to have you here. I'm like, yeah, I haven't eaten in 2 or 3 days. I've been eating, kind of flying on the whim as far as food was concerned. And she tells me, oh, no, it's just you being, she goes, it's just witchcraft. It's just witchcraft. It's just witchcraft being implemented on you. And I'm just like, huh? And this is the very first day I'm there. This is Cannon Homes Human Resources out there in Watts, California. And this, like I said, I'll sum it up. In 2 months, I go there, try to get clean, right, as best my ability. Stay clean for about 2 months. I wanted to do about 90 days, and then get a job and then go to school. And every night they would come and hit me with this flashlight device, LED, very, very bright enough to wake you up out of your sleep in the middle of the night. And after that, that's when I realized, okay, this is crazy. This is getting kind of out of hand. So they flashbanged me, which was an internal device. I think it could have been an external device, but it's almost like being hit with a flashbang grenade. Boom. So I get hit with that. My roommate, right? Remember, I'm living in a den of demons at this point, because at this point, all of them were gang stalkers inside the Cannon Human Services program. And I get hit with a flashbang device that blinded me for a quick second. I get hit with a laser device, a green laser device. I never seen it before. I started doing research on it. It's called ELF waves, and it incapacitated me, just like my brother's house. It incapacitated me to an extent, and I couldn't move for a short second. I actually hopped out of the bed. I was like, hey man, did you just hit me with the laser, man? Why you got a laser on me at like 5:30 in the morning? Man, I don't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I was so livid. I was gonna pull him, drag him off his top bunk and just start pounding on him. But I digress. So I ended up leaving. I relapsed again because of the stress and everything like that. So I leave again. My cousin calls me. I had linked up with my cousin prior to me relapsing, and I called her and stuff like that, let her know what's going on. And she goes, okay, well, I'll come pick you up. Let's drive to Vegas and, go hang out. So now, and I'm currently still in Vegas. I'm going to leave again. I'm going to travel somewhere else. So she drives me to Vegas. My cousin, to get there, my younger cousin, he's completely giving me the cold shoulder, all types of innuendos as far as what's going on in my life. I mean, he completely, just for lack of better word, he completely shits on me. And my older cousin, the one who drove me out there, she drives me out there. I stay at Crossroads. They showed me a video about MK Ultra. When you fall asleep, that's when they deal with you. So I went there, and even the staff there was like, Amen. I'm just like, huh? What are you talking about? Like, what? They would do weird stuff like that. A lady looked at me. She goes, look in my eyes, young man. I'm like, huh? What do you mean, ma'am? Look in my eyes. Hold my hands. I'm like, what? Just very, very eerie stuff. And so I leave there. My cousin picks me up, hang out with her for a few days. Drops me off at the Las Vegas rescue mission. They didn't end up taking me, but I accidentally left my phone in her car. She drives off, and I haven't seen her since. And obviously she's a gang stalker too, because when I was on my way back over here, she was talking to a gentleman who worked at the Cannon Homes. Not gentleman, but a demon per se. And she was talking to him. I'm like, how do you know this guy? Oh man, you're a gang stalker. Oh man. And what ended up happening was she drops me off, and I haven't seen her since. I get a job for a month. I was able to buy me a phone, and I tried to hit her back on Facebook, and she doesn't want to talk to me anymore. So I guess the cat's out of the bag. So the cat's out of the bag, and whenever I do that, it's because gang stalkers are walking by me. Sometimes they'll stop literally and try to ear hustle my conversations. But my point is this: when you're being gang stalked, don't ever let them gain enough power to the point to where you're just completely distraught. And because I went through all types of emotional roller coasters and stuff, and I want y'all to know something. The Creator has got your back in these situations, because you're a truth teller. You're a life giver. You're everything, and they're everything that the gang stalkers are not, and they hate that. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna do a few more videos, touch on a few more subjects, because there's a lot more stuff that I've been through. Unfortunately, that I wanted to get out. So I have since found sobriety on the streets, and it's a beautiful thing that to let go of those demons, those chemical affliction type demons, those addiction demons. It's a beautiful thing. And next up is cigarettes, because I'm still struggling with cigarettes. So I'm looking to stop smoking and get my life together. So my name is Brandon Lee. I'll see you guys on the next one.